No hidden clues, no suit and tie. It's all for you. Out of the newsroom, into the light. No suit and tie, it's beaming bright. Unscripted moments, the host is scary. On Next News Network, we never vary. On YouTube, we're streaming live. On Rumble, the chat is alive. On X, we're trending high. And mainstream media's dead, and we are why. Millions of followers, hear us out. Seen all over the world, there's no doubt. We are the future, shining bright. Join the raw feed every night. Out of the newsroom, into the light. No suit and tie, it's feeling right. Unscripted moments, the host is scary. On Next News Network, we never vary.
Good afternoon and welcome to the show that's got Washington quaking in its boots. I'm Gary Franchi and you're watching the Next News Network's Raw feed. Right now, we're going to bring you a storm of truth so powerful it makes Hurricane Milton look like a summer breeze. But before we dive in, I want you to do something for me. Grab your phone right now and text this live stream link to everyone that you know. Why? Because big tech is trying to bury us. They don't want you to hear what we are about to reveal. By sharing the stream, you're not just helping us, you are striking a blow against the algorithm and ensuring that truth prevails. Now, let me tell you, folks, we're not just broadcasting to a few thousand people tonight. We are reaching millions across YouTube, Rumble, and X. That's right, millions of patriots just like you tuning in because they know this is where the real news happens. And if you're not following us on those platforms yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that follow button now because you don't want to miss a second of what is coming. Now, speaking of what's coming, we've got a jam-packed show for you. We're talking Hurricane Milton's unprecedented assault on Florida. Kamala Harris's cringe-worthy media tour, the game-changing Trump-Elon alliance, Hillary Clinton's chilling call for censorship, and explosive revelations about election fraud that will make your hair stand on end. But here's the kicker. We're not just talking at you. We want to hear from you. Throughout the show, we'll be diving into live chat, getting your reactions, your thoughts, and your questions. This is not just a broadcast, it's a conversation with millions of like-minded Americans who are sick and tired of the mainstream media's lies. And for those of you on Rumble, we've got something special. Send us your Rumble rants, and you will be featured on the show. That's right, your voice right here on the Next News Network. Now, I've got to level with you. Bringing you this kind of hard-hitting, no-holds-barred truth is not easy. The powers that be would love nothing more than to shut us down. That's why we need your support. In the description below, you will find links to donate. Every dollar you give keeps this show on the air, and keeps the truth flowing, and keeps the elites sweating. And also, remember, support the sponsors. When you see us reading the ads, those guys help us broadcast as well. So make sure you support them. So are you ready? Are you prepared to have your mind blown? Because right now we are not just reporting the news, we are changing the game. From the devastation that is anticipated of Hurricane Milton after Hurricane Helene to the corruption infesting our nation's capital, we are covering it all. And trust me, by the end of the show, you will never look at this country the same way again. So buckle up, America. The storm is here, and we are right in the eye of it. This is the Next News Network, and the truth starts now. Let's welcome you to the show. Let's see who's in the house tonight. Studio's here. Angel Small. Carol's here. We got Katie and Angel and Pothead Kenny and Shiryu and Maria and Garth. We've got Alfred, Melissa. We've got Christiana. We've got Glenda and Lewis, George. We got Margot and Dave and Sherry and Sharon and Cindy. Pothead Kenny's in the house. Make sure that when you type in the chat room where you are watching from, your city, your state, your location, what kind of device you're on. It helps everybody get an idea of the family and the community that we have here at the Next News Network and just how far this network reaches from coast to coast, really around the world. We've got Glenda and Lori and Amanda and Jan. Francisco is here. We got Wayne and Maria. Picto Woman is here. Get on with it, she says. We got Dominique, Alvin, Carrie, New Norm Trump from Lancaster. We got Simon from Oregon. We got David from Ohio and Barbara from hello. We got Texas MAGA Mom from Dallas. We got Laurel from Southern Arizona. We got some news out of Arizona too. We got Rusty Nails in the house in Washington and Lana in Wyoming. Flowers from Florida's weather coast. Oh boy. Lorraine from Arizona. Lawrence from South Bend, Indiana. Annette, Kentucky. We've got Jared from Monroe on his phone at work. Don't get caught, man. Don't get caught. We got Katie in Washington. We've got Sharon. We got Sandra in Indiana. The gang is all here. So, folks, I want to thank you for chatting in. Make sure you get all your reactions after each segment so that we can interact with you, get your real time feedback. So, let's jump into our first topic of the day. Brace yourselves, America. Hurricane Milton isn't just a natural disaster headed straight for Florida. It's a perfect storm of government incompetence and shocking priorities. While Floridians evacuate in droves, the question everyone's asking is, where is FEMA? Well, I will tell you where. Funneling your tax dollars to illegal immigrants. That's right. While Americans cling to rooftops, the Biden administration is more concerned with disaster equity than saving lives. Governor DeSantis is stepping up at Washington while they are AWOL. Stay tuned because what I'm about to reveal will make your blood boil. Now, as Hurricane Milton bears down on Florida, we're seeing firsthand how quickly disaster can strike. Folks, it's not just about weather, it's about being prepared for any crisis. That's where Global Gold Investments comes in. With our national debt skyrocketing and FEMA's priorities questionable, you need a storm-proof strategy for your finances. Gold has weathered economic hurricanes for centuries. Call that number on the screen, 888-700-4148 now and get their free 2024 Protect Your Wealth and Retirement Guide. Don't wait until the financial storm hits. Call 888-700-4148 or visit IRAGoldproof.com. It's linked below. Mention Next News for a complimentary portfolio analysis. Remember, if you don't have gold, you don't have true wealth. Okay, so I've been tracking this all weekend and got a lot of news to get into here. But right now, we're looking at Hurricane Milton amplifying into a Category 5. Major Hurricane Milton is a record-breaking hurricane likely to be retired Category 5 in just moments. 155 plus mile per hour winds, 15 to 20 foot storm surges, 20 MB drop in 3 hours to 945 millibar, may be the fastest rapid intensification ever seen in the Gulf of Mexico. And evacuations are currently underway. People in Tampa Bay region are preparing for impacts from the second major hurricane landfall in 2 weeks. Helene was bad, but the wind and storm surge from Milton could be even worse in places like Tampa and Sarasota. Abandoned by FEMA, North Carolina town residents devastated by Helene left to fend for themselves. That is the New York Post today. Folks, this is a 1-2 punch that we are about to witness. And the projections for this, you can see right here on your screen. This projection puts it almost direct hit on Tampa and all the way down to Naples, Cape Coral, Fort Myers. And this is not good. And there's other projections that actually show it going right up the East Coast again, devastating the very towns that were devastated during Helene. So this is really bad. At the same time, there are people sabotaging truckers that are bringing loads down to the Helene disaster area. Listen to this trucker here.
I was just notified. I'm a truck driver, in case anybody wasn't aware. So I got connections with the ports and the railroads and other drivers. 51 truck drivers. 51 trucks who were delivering goods. They were on their way to deliver supplies down to the devastated areas of Hurricane Helene. Well, they pulled into a truck stop to get fuel. Every single one of their trucks, all their tires were slashed. Every one of them. Yet, all the other drivers that had nothing to do with what they were doing, they were okay. I'm sorry, if you don't see a problem with that, does anybody else find that highly questionable?
Yeah, we are under attack from within. That's according to the Post here. And it's posts like that that is really infuriating people like Pete Buttigieg and others who claim that this is all just misinformation that's being spread. Now, to clarify here, you may have seen this video. This has been going viral. If you could go vertical for a second, Brian, I'd appreciate that. So this is a viral video. I want to make everyone clear. This is not related to Hurricane Helene. This was actually back in June of 21 off the coast of Florida. People were believing this video was related to weather modifications. I just want to make sure that it's not. But what Peter Schweitzer is saying, you can go back to horizontal, Brian. U.S. government is hiding their forecast model. This is Peter Schweitzer. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration cannot reveal weather forecasts from a particularly accurate hurricane prediction model to the public that pays for American government agency because of a deal with a private insurance risk firm. So because the government has a private deal, they are not revealing the true information related to this hurricane. Let's listen to this.
Preparing for, I urge Floridians to finalize your storm preparations now, enact your plan. I highly encourage you to evacuate. We are preparing, and I have the state emergency response team preparing for the largest evacuation that we have seen, most likely since 2017 Hurricane Irma. But to that end, I want to go back to our basics. Evacuate if you're in an evacuation zone. If you are not in an evacuation zone and your house was built in conjunction with the Florida Building Code, which pretty much throughout the state of Florida means after 2004, you may be better just to stay in place. If you're dependent on power, you will need to evacuate. If you're dependent on a special set of circumstances, you'll need to evacuate. But if you're not one of those individuals and you're inland, not in an evacuation zone, it may be better for you to just stay in place.
The roads are going to be insane. People are going to be panicking and leaving the state. Now, here's Pete Buttigieg. Outrage over misinformation surrounding Hurricane Helene. Talking with former White House press secretary Jen Psaki. So you know they have a cozy relationship, right?
Helene, because joining me now is Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg. Secretary, it's so great to see you, and I know you've had quite a week, so I appreciate you being here to talk to us about everything you've been working on. And I know we're going to talk about the port strike, but I want to start with the hurricane and the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, because your department and you have also played a role in helping with that. And the Washington Post reports that rumors and conspiracy theories have already prompted unnecessary evacuations, and some of these falsehoods have been viewed millions of times on social media. That's just some of the reporting. There's lots of reporting in local papers as well about how damaging this has been. But you and your department have been so involved. How damaging has the misinformation been? And what impacts are you seeing in terms of the recovery and the people who are trying to find loved ones and get accurate information?
So anytime you criticize the government response to anything now, it's misinformation. Anytime you see a video from a first-hand account of what's happening on the ground, they're going to call that misinformation. That is the modus operandi moving forward. Anything. It doesn't matter. Whether it's a pandemic, whether it's health-related, whether it's a hurricane or natural disaster, this is how they're playing it out.
Well, it can have a real cost for people on the ground who are already dealing with so much. And, you know, it's right up there with making sure that people have access to transportation, making sure they get their power back on, making sure communications come back. Another part of that is making sure you can get good, accurate, and useful information. Unfortunately, that has become, in many ways, more difficult in the current digital information environment. And so it's become more important than ever to have trusted and reliable sources. We've worked to make sure that information that gets to users is good. For example, state 511 systems, and then for responders, we set up a routing assistance hotline, just so that if you're involved in an emergency operation, you could call and get our data about where a road might actually be open and available, or out of service where a bridge was taken out. But you look at what's going on online, a lot of it seems to be driven by politics, and that is actively harming and disrupting the process of getting back to normal for so many people whose lives were upended by this awful storm.
And
Driven by politics? Really? Well, the buck stops at Kamala and Biden. So if we're going to direct our criticism to Kamala and Biden's response, it's directed at the administration. Has nothing to do with the if they have a D or an R next to their name. So he is the one that is turning it into a political game.
cover is still certainly continuing. That's very helpful information for people to know out there. I saw this. I'm sure a lot of people saw this. You actually personally pushed back against some misinformation about hurricane relief in an exchange with Elon Musk, of all people, on Twitter. We are showing it right there, basically telling him that he could call you if he was confused. Whatever you told him seemed to work, because he publicly thanked you and said you're on the ball, which is not something he typically does. Did you end up speaking with him, or did he just take your word for it online?
No, he took me up on that. He called. We had a conversation. What we found out was actually happening was the FAA was not closing down any airspace, but there was an issue with pilots who were helping get Starlink equipment to where it needed to be, having the right information. We worked that with local authorities, and we're able to take care of it. And I think to me it's an example of how often the best thing to do is just to pick up the phone.
Yeah. And who's going to really answer? Pete Buttigieg? You're going to call Pete Buttigieg? Just something to keep in mind is that FEMA does have priorities, and one of their main priorities is ensuring disaster equity. They're very concerned with the LGBTQ and the trans community, ensuring that they get the necessary relief, because apparently they're already a suppressed group. Let's listen.
Discussions, because it being talked about sparked a few things in my mind, thinking about preparedness and how you said, LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that. It's just compounding on itself. And I think that is maybe the why of why we're having these discussions, is because it isn't being talked about. It isn't being socialized. We're not paying attention to this community. Thank you so much. Maggie.
Thank you. There are a couple of things that are intersecting in my mind here. One of them is the culture of emergency management as an organization, as an industry in the United States specifically, not abroad. This has, and my cat sometimes does this, she gets really loud suddenly, so you'll have to just allow for the little meowing in the background.
Is she one of those cat ladies?
The shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles, where everything is designed for the greatest good, for the greatest amount of people, to disaster equity. But we have to do more. Right. And so this topic is intersecting, I think, with a number of other topics where we have to look at policies and understand to what extent they have disadvantaged communities that had less assets, communities that had pre-existing vulnerabilities in accessing disaster-related recovery supports.
There's their priorities, my friends. Now, there's been a lot of talk about weather modification. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene, she pointed out that they can control the weather. It's not a secret. Here's Obama's CIA Director John Brennan talking about it. Anyone who says they don't or makes fun of you is lying to you. By the way, the people know it and hate all of you who try to cover it up. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she posted this video.
Temperature increases. Some risks associated. Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering, that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI, a method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that can help reflect the sun's heat in much the same way that volcanic eruptions do. An SAI program could limit global temperature increases, reducing some risks associated with higher temperatures and providing the world economy additional time to transition from fossil fuels. This process is also relatively inexpensive. The National Research Council estimates that a fully deployed SAI program would cost about $10 billion yearly. As promising as it may be, moving forward on SAI would also raise a number of challenges for our government and for the international community.
So there you have it. That's John Brennan. He's talking about weather modification. But of course, you bring that up, you're just a quack. Here we go. This is posted a couple days ago. This is another storm model prediction for Hurricane Milton. Best way to think about it is that Florida will see a 1-2 punch. First one will bring rain on Sunday into Monday today with an area of low pressure along a stalled out front, then a second main punch from tropical storm or hurricane on Tuesday or Wednesday. Now, this was, of course, 2 days ago, and now we're seeing that Hurricane Milton is reaching Category 5 strength. And again, anytime you bring up anything related to questioning the response, questioning the actions, or whatever's going on behind the scenes, like we talked about the other day with the grounding of drone overflights, because they don't want the average American people to see the true cost of the devastation or the bodies. Yeah. So here is Republican Senator Tom Tillis. He's really upset about misinformation too.
That kind of. I noticed that a state senator in North Carolina named Kevin Corbin had been posting on Facebook asking people to stop conspiracy theory junk, as he called it, including claims the government's controlling the weather or stealing donation money. Who or what is fueling that kind of misinformation? And do you think it's harming recovery efforts?
Well, Margaret, I've been involved in a number of storm responses, and this is when I believe discipline is absolutely essential. Kevin is a friend of mine, and he's right to call out people. Many of these observations are not even from people on the ground. I believe that we have to stay focused on rescue operations, recovery operations, clearing operations, and we don't need any of these distractions on the ground.
Okay, but what about, did you guys see this video of this helicopter over a disaster recovery site? I've never seen anything quite like it, and it was pretty bad. Here it is. Okay, so you're concerned about misinformation or disruption of the flow of goods. Well, people have a real serious question about this. An unmarked Black Hawk helicopter rotor wash a supply drop-off in western North Carolina. These guys have no idea who did this, and they're trying to figure this out. Brian, go vertical with this. Look at this. This afternoon, an unmarked military-style helo flies into the local area. They had a meeting with parties involved to establish no fly, no drops. They flew and hovered around for a bit, looking likely they wanted to land despite our signals telling them no. They dipped down, performed a rotor wash, which seemed deliberate, then flew off, destroying a lot of the staging area and harming the people directly below them. The helo was unmarked. They were unable to zoom in and see the masked person. Who flies unmarked and unmasked? Local PD came in. We've been trying to find and track their flight info. They're ghosts, they said. 40 minutes, 2 unmarked black SUVs running blue lights rolled in, circled around, and left. Look at this. Look at the damage that's done to all of the goods that are set to go out. This is going viral right now. They still don't know who this was. That's just one story, my friends. One story. Here we go. Another update. Hurricane Milton seems unnatural. Its movement from the Bay of Campeche directly towards Florida's west coast is very unique. MJ Truth Ultra did some digging. Typically, hurricanes that affect Florida from the Gulf Coast either come up from the southern Gulf or loop around after initially moving west. However, starting directly from the southwestern Gulf like Milton did and heading due east into Florida's west coast is not common. Such a direct path from its origin towards Florida's west coast has not been seen in the last 80 years. Brian, go vertical, please, or horizontal. This makes the hurricane extremely unpredictable. Hurricane Milton has rapidly evolved into a significant weather event. It's expected to intensify into major Category 3. Now it's upwards of Category 5 before it hits the Gulf Coast. It's going to hit Wednesday. Now, currently, winds are at 155. The projected path has a wide cone of uncertainty, but it's primarily aimed at Florida's Gulf Coast. This means that impacts could be felt as far south as Naples to the Big Bend region, with the central forecast near Tampa Bay. So people don't... This is a very strange origination of this hurricane. Even Grant Cardone brought it up. He was questioning the origins of this hurricane. Let's see if I can find that post from Grant. Here he is. Grant Cardone. I grew up in the Gulf of Mexico, been watching storms since I was a young boy. I have never seen a storm start here and go east. Do you think the government is using technology to manipulate weather patterns and storms? That's Grant Cardone asking the question. Okay, he's no moron. This was just a couple days ago. No, this is 21 hours ago. Tampa Bay area, Sunday before the hurricane. People are already stocking up and going crazy. People are getting ready for this. And now, there was a point that was brought up to me. A friend of mine had sent me a message, and I have been watching this aspect of the Hurricane Helene element. And this question was raised about the world's largest lithium deposits right outside of Asheville. And the question's raised, would it be crazy if the largest lithium mining company in the world, 3 days before the flood began, submitted the permits for their mine right outside of Asheville? Would it be crazy if the mining company was given $250 million in grants to help with construction of their mine right outside of Asheville? Would it be crazy if less than a month before the flood started, BlackRock acquired 2.2 million shares of stock in the mining company? Would it be crazy if the residents that opposed the mine had their homes destroyed and property? Those are valid questions. Are we allowed to ask those questions? Are those questions permissible in this day of worrying about misinformation? No, we can ask questions, and we need to demand answers, my friends. This young lady here, North Carolina, in total chaos, lives of TikTok, posted this, and she's pleading people to share this information.
This video to go viral. I need you all to share this. Share it and tag and share and tag. Get this out. I need this to reach
Vertical, please.
as far west. People, we have communities. We have people in these Appalachian Mountains right now. Right here in these Appalachian Mountains, we have brothers and sisters that are stuck, that are trapped. It has been 7 days since Hurricane Helene hit the United States. We've got people trapped in these mountains. And people are asking where our military is. Our military can't do anything until the leader of this stupid country right now signs off on it. So our military is stuck. They cannot put boots on the ground. They cannot hike these Appalachian Mountains. They cannot rescue these people that are in these mountains that are stuck. They can't get to them. They can't do anything. Our military can't do anything because they will not sign the orders to release them. It is up to us, American people, and we are doing everything we can. We got hit in Greene County. Our riverbank is gone. Houses are gone. I need y'all to understand, outside of these Appalachian Mountains, the news are not covering it. They're not telling what it's like. The county above us, Unicoi County, is the county you've seen all over the news where the people were on top of the hospital, had to be rescued. You saw how much water they had. That water came down to Greene County. You all have saw Newport, Cott County. Dolly was there yesterday. Dolly Parton. That's where she done her press conference where she's donating $2 million. $1 million out of her pocketbook and $1 million out of her donation, or out of her fund. Guys, East Tennessee and Western North Carolina is 1,000 times worse than the news has made it out to be. There is people, I need y'all to understand, especially coastal states. You all that live in a state that is surrounded by the ocean, that it connects to the ocean, when you get hit with a hurricane, yours involves an ocean. That ocean comes in, it floods you, but it sucks back out. You are still left with your buildings. You're still left with your homes to be able to go in and see if you can salvage anything. Okay? You're left with that. These people aren't left with that. These people don't even have a structure to go back to see if they can save anything. These people don't have anything to go back to look at. It is a concrete slab, and it's here, and it's in Unicoi, and it's in Cott County, and it's across that state line in North Carolina. And I'm going to tell you now, North Carolina is so much worse than anywhere. Those mountain towns, you've got to understand, people live off grid for a reason. They want to keep talking about the death toll. They want to keep comparing this hurricane to Katrina and the death toll. I'm here to tell you now, and I've told other people, and I've talked to news stations, and I'm telling you, this death toll will blow Katrina out of the water. There is people we don't even know who was on those Appalachian Mountains hiking them. There is people that live off grid for a reason. We have no idea how many people lived in those mountains. We don't know how many homeless people had camps set up in those mountains. I can tell you now, where I live, there was homeless camps set up all along the river. And now they're gone. And we don't even know if the homeless made it out. We don't know if they're alive. We don't know anything, people. We don't know. You need to understand, there are bodies washing up. This ain't a joke. There is counties in North Carolina that don't have enough body bags. They have already filled thousands. There is one county in particular, they've done filled 1,000 and they're begging for more because they don't have any more. Please do not compare this hurricane to Katrina. Don't even compare what Florida got from Hurricane Helene. Do not compare what they got compared to East Tennessee and Western North Carolina, because I'm going to tell you now, we're not the same. We are not the same. People have asked, why were we not prepared? You can't prepare for something that has never happened. It's the same as asking Florida, why are you not prepared for a blizzard? Because a blizzard has never happened in Florida. I'm in Tennessee. I do not connect to an ocean. There is no reason that we should have had that much damage. Have we ever been flooded by hurricanes? Yes, but nothing like what we just endured. You've got to understand, we didn't have an ocean that come in and then suck back out. We had
thousands, she says, thousands of body bags. Not prepared for anything of this magnitude. I'm going to get to Samaritan's Purse, Franklin Graham, in a second here, but I want to bring up a post that President Trump just made on Truth Social. The great people of North Carolina are being stood up by Harris and Biden. Now, he's getting criticized for saying this, but we're going to show you the truth. From their own freaking mouths, we're going to show you the truth. This is the misinformation that they're afraid of getting out when we correct the frickin' record. The great people of North Carolina are being stood up by the Harris and Biden administration, who are giving almost all the FEMA money to illegal migrants in what is now considered to be the worst rescue operation in the history of the United States. On top of that, billions of dollars is going to foreign countries. North Carolina has been virtually abandoned by Kamala. Drop her like she dropped you. Vote for President Donald Trump. Well, guess what? They're saying that Trump is lying, that FEMA never gave this money to illegals. Well, guess what? Guess what? Guess what?
Through it's just categorically false. No, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants. So FEMA regional administrators have been meeting with city officials on site to coordinate available federal support from FEMA and other federal agencies. Funding is also available through FEMA's emergency food and shelter program to eligible local governments and non-for-profit organizations upon request to support humanitarian relief for migrants. It's just
there it is. There it is from the frickin' White House own mouth. These people are lying to your face, and they want to call us correcting the record misinformation. Drew Hernandez, 5 hours ago, Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party are now denying the feds allocated FEMA money to assist efforts to illegal aliens. Well, here's CNN's flashback that proves otherwise.
That they know are receiving it. So now the White House says that for those cities that they know are receiving an influx of migrants, that includes New York City, as you just said, Chicago, and here in Washington, D.C., there is somebody from FEMA, that federal emergency management agency, ready and willing to really help those cities when it comes to management of these influx of migrants, including reimbursing some of those cities. That's a part of the kind of the response that the White House is now giving. So now just the White House says...
Listen. They're trying to tell you that didn't happen. They gave millions and millions and millions of dollars to people that do not have a right to be here. People who broke the law to come into this country. And you have people like that woman and people that she knows and people that we've been covering here. Like David and Chimney Rock. Right? They have nothing to go back to. They're not getting luxury accommodations and $15,000 gift cards. No, they get a paltry check for $750 that they have to find an internet connection to go ahead and apply to. But then they're blocking the Starlinks coming in. So you can't even get an internet connection. And people are getting rejected, as we previously reported. You know, I don't normally get this worked up, but I'm just tired of this. I am so tired of this. Here's another hurricane model from 23 hours ago. All but one model shows Hurricane Milton heading into the Florida coast. One track has the storm going on a similar path as Hurricane Helene. This track should be watched closely with how far Milton is from landfall, and anyone who's ever seen a storm in the Gulf knows the storm could easily take a more northern track and cause a 1-2 punch to an already devastated area. So look at that. Look at that track, my friends. Think about this. If that hurricane heads north, you have disaster relief efforts underway with all the supplies that are going into that area. All that stuff could get washed away. This is but remember this. Here's FEMA signing an NAACP pledge to instill equity.
And it's official.
To instill equity in disaster relief. Yeah. Here's Anna Paulina Luna. Go vertical, Brian.
All right, morning updates as follows. Just met with Hillsborough County EOC, talked to Pinellas County EOC. What we are expecting is in the Pinellas County and Hillsborough County regions, so Tampa Bay, if this hurricane is projected to go the path that it is currently, we are expecting flooding up to 9 feet in certain areas. So if you're in flood zone A, also too, if you're in the barrier islands, it is likely only a matter of time before they do the mandatory evacuation orders. So if you don't have a lot of money to travel, which a lot of people are tight right now, what we are hearing is east of 75, so it goes 10 miles inland, you should be okay. There's going to be a lot of rain, a lot of wind. Remember, you're going to shelter from the wind and run from the water. That's the motto that you're using if you are in these affected areas. Please do not take this for granted. This is coming directly at us as of right now. We already have super saturated ground because of the previous flooding with Helene. This is going to be worse, and a lot of these people that are not with us now, unfortunately, are not with us because they chose to stay. So please do not take this for granted. Please leave. All right, morning updates as follows. Just met with Hillsborough.
This is where we're at, my friends. National Hurricane Center, Monday. Milton rapidly intensifies to a Category 4 hurricane. Maximum sustained winds have now increased to 150 miles per hour. Minimum pressure has fallen to 94 MB. That was Marjorie Taylor Greene. Check this guy out. This guy's in Tampa. Brian, go vertical, please. This is a Tampa resident who was just hit by Helene, and now they're getting ready for Hurricane Milton.
All right, so we are currently, it's Sunday. We're currently in the path for Milton, Tampa, Florida. It's not looking good right now. It's going to be, I think, a way heavier storm. This is what our street looks like right now. Debris everywhere. All the way down there. All the way down there. If this, it's 110 mile an hour wind with a storm surge, I just pray to God the house doesn't get destroyed. I mean, if the storm surge is anything like the rest, or last week, or even bigger, it's going to be extremely detrimental. Like, Tampa's already going to be fucked, and everything south of Tampa. But we're getting a U-Haul, trying to pack up as much stuff as we can. This is the first hurricane ever I'm leaving for. So, all right, so
that's just the beginning, friends. People are bracing for impact. FEMA is allocating disaster relief to migrants, and based on equity, this thing's ramping up to a Category 5. We got unmarked Black Hawk helicopters, rotor washing supply drops. DeSantis issuing an executive order this morning to get the Guard in action ahead of Milton. He got Pinellas County dumps opened up. Now all over the county, you see this happening. You see dump trucks getting ready to get all of the debris. Here is I-4 and I-75. They are backed up from people trying to evacuate due to Hurricane Milton. Look at that. Sassafras 84 says, I don't want to hear in the aftermath, why didn't they leave? People are trying to. You don't want to get stuck on the interstate during a hurricane. What do these people do? I mean, you're just sitting there in a car. You're a sitting duck. I could not imagine what it's like to live in these areas. Ron DeSantis, the Florida National Guard, all hands on deck.
Removal. Florida National Guard, Florida State Guard, additional FDOT personnel, Florida Highway Patrol are all hands on deck for this debris removal mission in advance of Hurricane Milton. Over 800 guardsmen are currently deployed in impacted areas, and we are in process of mobilizing a total of 4,000 to be deployed throughout the state. National Guard's also deploying heavy equipment to assist with debris removal, including Army and Air Force horizontal construction units, tactical high water vehicles, dump trucks, and front-end loaders. Division of Emergency Management is coordinating with local EM directors to inform them of the debris waste and landfill sites that have been ordered to remain open 24/7 and are surging assets, of course, to supplement local debris removal coordination.
So DeSantis already taking proactive steps. People of Florida, Hurricane Milton's been upgraded to a Category 4. This was 5 hours ago. It's reaching Category 5. Evacuate right now. That is the order that is being put out. Here's Samaritan's Purse. They are doing real good work out there
Supply. This is Franklin Graham. I'm the Samaritan's Purse outside our headquarters here in Boone, North Carolina. We never imagined that our little local airstrip would be used as a helicopter transport helipad. We've got supplies going out here every few minutes, going to different parts of the state that were cut off as a result of Hurricane Helene. Right now we're taking fuel, we're taking Starlink satellites, and thank you Elon Musk for helping with that. And also we've got generators going, fuel cans, the hoses that people will need to hook this stuff up. And we're sending out technicians today all over the state to help hook up these Starlinks. And we're sending out a lot of water, a lot of food. We're doing it all in Jesus' name. Remember to pray for them. God bless you. Thank you.
Amen. Oh, SamaritansPurse.org if you want to support that. These guys are on the ground, and if this Milton takes the northern track, I can't imagine the devastation. So please just pray for these people. But of course, more people are more concerned of politics. Here is the head of FEMA.
And hard to reach.
The FEMA Administrator, Deanne Criswell, she joins us this morning. Thank you for joining us. Let's start out with the recovery and rescue effort. Where do things stand right now?
Good morning, George. We are still actively supporting the governor in this search for individuals, but at the same time, we continue to move in critical commodities into the places that have been hard to reach. And our plan and what we're doing with them is to make sure that we can sustain that for as long as needed, as we know it's going to take time to repair the infrastructure and get access to all of the roads in the communities that either have limited access or no access at all. We've got thousands of responders on the ground right now, along with thousands of volunteers and the private sector working alongside our state partners, the National Guard, the first responders in the community, meeting the needs of the people on the ground.
Do you have all the resources you need?
Absolutely, George. We moved resources in before this storm happened. We embedded our staff in the state to work side by side so we could quickly employ those resources to where they were needed. And as we continue to see how long we're going to have to provide this level of sustained support, we will continue to do that.
Let's talk about some of the misinformation that is out there, including these claims from former President Trump that FEMA is about
Yeah, so who's politicizing it now? The media.
$1 billion short because money has been going to undocumented immigrants. Also, that the areas of the Republican areas of the state are being intentionally ignored in some fashion.
It's frankly ridiculous and just plain false. This kind of rhetoric is not helpful to people. It's really a shame that we're putting politics ahead of helping people, and that's what we're here to do. We've had the complete support of the state. We've had the local officials helping to push back on this dangerous, truly dangerous narrative that is creating this fear of trying to reach out and help us or to register for help. People need resources, and we need them to get into the system. And it's just, a shame that people are sitting home on their comfortable couches while we have thousands of people here on the ground that have left their own families to be able to help those in need.
So much is going viral online as well. One user suggested yesterday that a militia should go against FEMA. It got more than 500,000 views. What kind of impact has this had on the recovery effort?
I didn't hear that story.
It has a tremendous impact on the comfort level of our own employees to be able to go out there, but it's also demoralizing to all of the first responders that have been out there in their communities helping people, FEMA staff, volunteers, the private sector that are working side by side with local officials to go out and help people. I need to make sure I can get the resources to where they're needed. And when you have this dangerous rhetoric like you're hearing, it creates fear in our own employees. And we need to make sure we're getting help to the people who need it.
Yeah, but of course, diversity, equity, and inclusion is really how you're doling out this support. I mean, by your own policies. Don't try to BS me. And if President Trump's going to criticize you because you guys went ahead and dumped millions of dollars into illegal immigrant shelters, in New York, Chicago, all across the country. But you're not helping the people here. You're sending millions and billions of dollars overseas to Lebanon, Israel, Ukraine. This whole thing is just a freaking joke. The whole thing is a joke. And right now, like this woman here, like her heartfelt story, friends, this is a firsthand account. When they talk about the misinformation, people are on the ground. They're talking about it. They're witnessing it. They're experiencing it. They're publishing it. But don't question it, like Pete Buttigieg says. Just fall in line. Get into the system, they say. Don't question any of the potential weather modification or perhaps the fact that, there's the largest lithium mine happening right there. Like all these things. We're allowed to ask questions, aren't we? Just want to make sure we're still allowed to do that in this country. Just pray for everybody, folks. I don't know how much more I can talk about this topic right now. We got a lot of other news to get to, but I'll leave you with this. Not to be. Appalachia has gone dark and criminals are pouring over the border, but Homeland Security Chief had time to go luxury shopping. Yeah. I stopped for clothes at Goodwill. Here's, look at this. Joe Gabriel Simonson. For context about all the FEMA stuff, I saw Alejandro Mayorkas this afternoon at Sid Mashburn, which is the second time I've seen him there on a Saturday afternoon in about a month. So suffice to say, this guy isn't working around the clock. Here he is. There is Alejandro Mayorkas going luxury shopping while people suffer. I shopped for clothes at Goodwill last week, but I'm glad the guy who ran out of FEMA money for Appalachia has time to spend thousands of dollars on preppy business casual clothes. That's where we're at, friends. The great people of North Carolina are being stood up by Harris and Biden. So while Milton barrels towards Florida, FEMA's more concerned with woke politics than American lives. DeSantis is fighting tooth and nail, but Washington, they're letting our people down, literally and figuratively. It's a disgrace. It's time that we demand answers. But I do want to hear from you. How has the government's response to this disaster affected your trust in federal agencies? Do you think that this is going to end Kamala Harris's chances? Because she could either step up and be the hero of the day, or she could fail miserably, and everyone will see it. Sound off in the comments below. Let's keep this conversation going. Man. How long was that segment? And I felt like forever. So much to get into for that topic. What are you guys saying here? It was an hour? That whole segment was an hour? Oh my goodness. Wow. I went for a whole hour on that. Didn't even feel like an hour. Philip says I never trusted anyone at FEMA. I saw this hello video this morning. It said Barbara. I used to live in Fort Myers, left many years ago. It says Dear Slayer. Fall in line. The last time people fell in line, they ended up with dangerous, didn't they? Keep up with the truth, says Karen. My family line's there, and I spoke with her this morning. She was in tears, stating the government was turning civilians' help away or stealing their loads. Tracy, how's the people that are in the area are the ones that are complaining? The people that are trying to help are complaining. The people that visit to get the word out are complaining. Kathleen, stand up in Jesus, exercise our faith in the Almighty God, in His holy name. Watch what He will do. Amen. People need to wake up, says Susan, or this is our future. This is our reality right now. This is the reality. We're seeing the devastating policies that are affecting and put in action. That whole segment was an hour? You gotta be kidding me. I don't even know how I did that. Okay. Okay, we got more news to get to here. I don't even know how I did an hour segment on that. It just was like a blur. Just like Kamala's freaking media blitz. Okay, Brian, let's get to the next subject here. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. We're about to take a wild ride through Kamala Harris's so-called media blitz, and let me tell you, it's more of a media breakdown. Well, Americans are struggling with inflation, border chaos, and now Hurricane Milton in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Our illustrious VP is chatting about frat boys on podcasts. But it gets worse. Wait until you hear her fumble through questions on CBS. It's not just embarrassing, it's downright dangerous. The question is, who is really running the country and what is she thinking? Now, folks, watching Kamala's media tour is like witnessing a car crash in slow motion. You can't look away. But you know it's going to be ending badly. And speaking of bad endings, let's talk about your car. In these uncertain times, you need eyes on the road, even when you're not behind the wheel. That's where Car Vision X comes in. This state-of-the-art dash cam could save you from legal nightmares and insurance battles. It's like having a personal witness 24/7. Don't let your story become a word cell like Kamala Harris's interviews. Visit carvisionx.com now for free shipping. Protect yourself on and off the road because, unlike our VP, you can't afford to be caught off guard. Okay, this is man, I got a lot to unpack for you guys here. Now, it's Kamala Harris. She's going to be going on this big media tour. She's hitting all the major shows. And she did it this weekend, and she's got more planned. She got The View planned for tomorrow. We've got the list breakdown here. Kamala Harris going on The View, going on Stephen Colbert, and this Call Her Daddy podcast. That's what she did yesterday. And ABC. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, CBS. Listen to this response to this question. She gets smoked here. Watch this.
And you strengthen my plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes.
Okay. The richest people are going to pay their fair share. That's what she just said. That's how she's going to pay for it. Raising taxes.
It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. And I plan on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
You know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about. Their constituents are those firefighters and teachers and nurses.
Okay, what she's doing here is she's pitting people against each other. She's pitting these working class people against the rich people. So if you're one of those working class individuals, oh, it's those rich people, they're the problem. How are you going to pay for all this? CBS calls out Kamala on her fantasy economic plan to raise taxes in order to pay for her woke agenda. And we're dealing with the real world here. Tim Walz had a disastrous appearance on Fox News Sunday. Oh, it was brutal. It was brutal. This is only the beginning of the disastrous media tour that they're trying to do because they know their campaign is collapsing. Everybody sees it. Even the mainstream media sees it. Elon Musk blasting Tim Walz What Walz is saying is utterly false. In fact, real Donald Trump recently posted that he would veto a nationwide abortion ban. And here's Tim Walz claiming Donald Trump and Vance are asking for a nationwide abortion ban.
The situation we have is when you don't have the ability of healthcare providers to provide that, that's where you end up with a situation like Amanda Zaworski in Texas, where they are afraid to do what's necessary. This doesn't change anything. It puts the decision back on to the woman, to the physicians, and we know that this is simply something to be brought up to be very clear. Donald Trump's asking for a nationwide abortion ban.
Wait, he
and
has
again,
said that
we don't see this as a winning campaign.
repeatedly that he will not sign a national abortion ban. Are you calling that just, it's a flat out lie?
Yes, of course, and Senator Vance has in the past said so too. Now look, they may see this as an election issue. We see it as a right of women to make their own bodily decisions, and that's what the states like my state have the ability to put that in. States like Georgia force women to cross the border, and then we have a death of Amber Thurman. So let's be very clear. Trying to cut hairs on an issue on this is not where the American public's at. They want the restoration of Roe versus Wade. Vice President Harris said she would sign it. The situation.
I always find it ridiculous whenever I see men arguing for women's rights. It just seems very bizarre. But yeah, so Elon Musk blasted him for that. Here's okay. So this is another clip from Kamala Harris on the Call Her Daddy program, where women talk about things.
Is to communicate.
I'm curious, like, you don't do too many long form interviews. What made you want to do Call Her Daddy today?
Well, I think you and your listeners have really got this thing right, which is one of the best ways to communicate with people is to be real, you know, and to.
Yeah, just be real. Yeah, just one of the best ways to communicate, just to be real. Shut up.
Talk about the things that people really care about. I mean, what I love about what you do is that your voice in your show is really about your listeners. And I think especially now, this is a moment in the country and in life where people really want to know they're seen and heard and that they're part of a community, that they're not out there alone. And so I'm really glad to be with you.
I'm curious. If I you don't.
Man, it's just a train wreck after train wreck. Okay. This next post here from the Trump War Room. Why should we trust you is the question.
Why should we trust you?
So I'll say this. Look, you can look at my career to know what I care about.
Why should we trust you?
You just look at my career. Now, they point out, by that metric, Kamala cares about illegal aliens, 70 to 80% tax rates, sex changes for prison inmates, banning gas-powered vehicles, ending fracking, and shipping jobs overseas. There you go. Trump War Room also making a point to, I think, Brian, go vertical with this. Kamala was feeling great as Americans clung to rooftops in desperation amid the botched federal hurricane response. Kamala is in the race for one reason only, herself. She's a disgusting human being. From Trump War Room. Listen, look at this.
How are you feeling? I'm Vice President
Alex.
Welcome to Call Her Daddy.
It is good to be with you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
We're in the final stretch of the election.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
I'm Vice President.
I'm feeling great. Meanwhile, Americans are suffering. Oh, it gets better. Okay. Now, how can we trust you? How can we trust you? Oh, well, look at my record, right? That's what she says. This clip here is probably one of the most devastating clips I've ever seen. Go horizontal, please, Brian. Walz got confronted on all of his lies in one question. Stolen valor, carrying weapons of war, Tiananmen Square, to how his children were conceived.
People who think Republicans came out against it long before President Trump indicated he didn't like it either. Listen, before we go, because I wish that we had a full hour, I want to give you a chance, because you called yourself a knucklehead this week, to talk about some of your misstatements. Yes. You've modified your story or explained that you misspoke about things involving your military rank, about carrying a weapon in war, your 1995 DUI arrest, using IVF to have your beautiful children, Gus and Hope, being in Hong Kong and China in the summer of 1989 during the Tiananmen events. A lot of people would say they couldn't get away with saying, I'm just too passionate, my grammar's not right, I'm a knucklehead. What do you say to the American people who think, I don't know that I can trust this guy with all those modifications to be the potential commander-in-chief of this country?
Yeah, well, I think they heard me. They heard me the other night speaking passionately about gun violence and misspeaking. And I got to be honest with you, Shannon, I don't think people care whether I used IUI or IVF when we talk about this. What they understand is Donald Trump would resist those things. Look, I speak passionately. I had an entire career, decades before I was in public office. They know, and I'm very proud of my 24 years in service and my record. I have never disparaged someone else in this, but I know that's not what Donald Trump does. They disparage everyone, the personal attacks. I will own up when I misspeak. I will own up when I make a mistake. Let's be very clear.
Republicans.
Those are some pretty big mistakes there, Walls. Pretty big mistakes. Oh, yeah, I was there at Tiananmen Square. Were you? No, I misspoke. Right? Stolen, carrying weapons in war, how his kids were conceived, being friends with a school shooter. Now Walls and Harris are doing interviews, at least a few. Will that make a difference? I don't think so. Take a look at this chart here. This is Pennsylvania, presidential election winner. Pennsylvania is a swing state, and it looks like right now 56% Republican right there. So they are freaking out right now, and that's why you're seeing this.
Is one of the most what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, sincerely. God have mercy on you, Kamala. So, Brick Soup brought up a really great point on a, this is my reaction here. Kamala, this is what she says. Brick Soup says she's 5 layers deep in qualifiers when she says this, and I had ChatGPT do an analysis. Watch this.
Has resulted.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that...
Yeah. What did you say?
Insanely idiotic. What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, my friends. Okay, so to break it down, ChatGPT, I ran it through to check for the qualifiers. And here's what she says. She says when she says a number of, it softens the impact of movements by making it vague rather than specific. She says very much intensifies the claim about how much the movements were prompted by certain factors, prompted by or the result of. This phrase hedges the cause-effect relationship, indicating either responsibility. Many things, this adds vagueness by implying multiple factors without specifying them, including suggests that advocacy is just one of several factors, again introducing vagueness. What needs to happen is vague language about the future actions without specifying clear outcomes. ChatGPT's summary, qualifiers galore, layers for days, politician speech level, expert mode. Yeah. So, they're having a disastrous media run right now. And of course, Kamala Harris feels like she has to go. They posted this a day ago. Breaking. An incredibly powerful moment. Vice President Harris has joined the relief efforts in North Carolina. Can you imagine Trump doing this? Retweet it so all Americans see this. Yeah. That's like a 10-minute photo op? Here's another photo op. Tim Walz stages it where runners pretend to know who he is and they're excited to see him. Everything about this man is a lie. Oh, hey, look at all the runners going by. How brainwashed do you have to be to go all in for actress Kamala? I can't believe the Americans are going for big government socialism. Breitbart reports Kamala Harris sends Hollywood media charm offensive. The View, Stephen Colbert, Howard Stern. Oh yeah, she is hitting all of it. The Hollywood-controlled media are rolling out the red carpet for Kamala Harris this week, welcoming the Democrat presidential candidate to a range of friendly media appearances as part of a planned offensive to enhance her likability in the final stretch of the election cycle. They are pulling out all the stops. The mainstream media is pulling out all the stops, booking her on all the shows. You don't see them booking Trump, giving him equal time. No, not at all. It's because her numbers are tanking and they know it. Here is Western Lensman a day ago. Okay? A big shift, Jen Psaki says, is coming to the Kamala Walz campaign.
Cheney was with her out on the campaign. You think about the Harris campaign strategy has gotten some criticism as well for not being basically mixing it up enough, enough events that are unscripted. Former President Obama is going to be out on the campaign trail. Liz Cheney was with her out on the campaign trail. Are you anticipating a strategy shift?
We've already seen them announce this, which I think is a great thing. Vice President Harris has a number of interviews she's doing over the next couple of weeks. Tim Walz, who I think is a huge asset, who hasn't been tapped into nearly enough for the last month, is going to be out there a great deal. And you're right. I mean, the thing is, at this point, when everything matters, you have to take risks. And people may make mistakes. It's worth it. Put them out there and have them doing a bunch of stuff. But we've already seen them announce their plans to do exactly that.
Okay. They're going on friendly media. They're not going to get pressed. They're not going to have hard questions. I mean, I got to give it to the CBS reporter for calling out her economic plan. Where's the money going to come from? But I mean, that's generally just a follow-up question you've heard before from other reporters asking politicians. The fact is that she can't even answer the question. She can't even answer these questions. I mean, at least Walz gets confronted about all this lies by Fox News, but going on some show where they talk about, deprived things, that's not gonna move the needle. That's desperation. And then what else do we have here? Okay. So The View puts out this post. Vice President Kamala Harris joins The View for her first live interview and first talk show appearance since accepting the Democrat nomination for president. You know, if I was in the tank for Kamala, I would not have posted it that way. Her first talk show appearance. I think I replied. Oh, I did. Yeah. Hats off to Kamala for finally braving The View. It only took her a cool 62 days after becoming the nominee. Nothing like facing those hard-hitting questions from the clucks, like ice cream flavors and yoga poses. Yeah, that's what that whole interview is going to be about. People are dying in North Carolina. Kamala Harris on a podcast for whores talking about where tampons go. Yeah, this is the conversation.
Outrageous. I mean, daddy gang, to put it in our TikTok terms. I have seen girls on the street walk up to men and be like, do you know where a tampon goes? Do you know how many tampons we use? Do you even know do you know what a X or Y or Z is of a part of our, and they don't know the answer.
I was the first vice president or president to ever in office go to a reproductive health care clinic, ever.
Congratulations, Kamala. And of course, she's staging these videos, badly staged videos. This is her and Liz Cheney. Vertical.
I know enough about you to know how strong of character you are and have always been, but this is a particular moment where there are so many forces that are just working against the notion that we all might have anything in common. Right. And for you to do what you were doing at this moment in time in particular it's pretty extraordinary, and thank you.
Thank you for saying that. It's a privilege, and it really matters. So, thank you for what you're doing.
I know.
These people are a joke. So speaking of Liz Cheney, here's what Joy Behar had to say.
This to say, I would say to those Republicans out there who are sitting on the fence, just do it this one time. Do it this one time. Vote for the Democrat to save the country. Listen to Liz Cheney. When everything goes back to normal, then become a Republican again, like Alyssa will become, and probably
Kamala said that
I would say to those Republicans.
Yeah, they're all in the tank. They're all in the tank. Okay, so about that podcast, Colin Rugg made note of it that Kamala Harris says she went on the Call Her Daddy podcast because it talks about things people really care about. Just 2 episodes ago, 1 hour and 13 minutes were spent on you see what's on the screen. You can read that? Can you read that? I don't even know. Am I allowed to say that word? I think you and your listeners really have got this thing right. So we got the big media blitz happening right now. Did you see this? At the Jason Aldean concert? This is epic. Go vertical, Brian.
Real talent, you've been very good to me, and I appreciate it. And I'm going to be good to you. I hope everyone is having an incredible time with the great Jason Aldean, a friend of mine and a real talent. And you're in beautiful Macon. I love Macon. We took Macon by a lot, so I like it where I take it. I wish I could be there myself and listen to that incredible music, but Jason has really been a true American patriot, one of the greatest entertainers of our time. He's a very special person with an incredible wife and family. Every day his music inspires countless hard-working, God-fearing citizens all across our nation. You are the men and women who carry this country on your shoulders, and you are the heart and soul of America, and nobody's going to say any different. As you know, we are just 1 month away from the most important election in the history of our country. Our economy, our border, our safety, our freedom, it's all in trouble, it's bad, and we're going to change it around. So I just say, November 5th, get out and vote. You can vote early if you like, but the main thing is to vote. We're going to make America great again. You're all going to be very happy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to follow. One thing I can say is that's my guy, and I hope they're playing this if he wins right here.
Yeah, I don't think that if Kamala Harris popped up on a big screen, see, that was Donald Trump popping up on a big screen with the Jason Aldean concert, unexpected. Do you think that Kamala Harris would get the same reaction? I don't think so. That's why she has to go on all of these. She has to go on all these talk shows and try to drum up support from friendly media so they can spin her lies. So there you have it, folks. Kamala Harris, a heartbeat away from the presidency and hoping to be the next one, stumbling through softball interviews while the country faces real crises. It's clear she's out of her depth, but the media's soft pedaling is almost as concerning as her performance. Of course, we all deserve better. And I want to hear from you. What do you think Kamala's media blitz reveals about the administration's priorities? Are they out of touch, or is there something more sinister at play? Sound off in the comments. Okay, we got, wow, we're only on our second topic of the day. My goodness. Wow. Let's see here. We've got, checking in in the chat room. What's up, chat? What does he cause this? I always wondered why the rich support the Democrats. The rich want to be taxed more, or is it because they know they're a bunch of crap? It's a bunch of crap, and it's the middle class. Songwriter will be at my. I will be at my local poll working. They have no priorities. Harris will run the country like she took care of North Carolina, and that's scary. Well, how about how she ran California? Man. All right, let's get into our next topic of the day here, because I took up so much time in that first story, and I wanted to. I didn't even realize how much time I spent there. Dark MAGA. Buckle up, America, because the political landscape just shifted beneath our feet. Donald Trump and Elon Musk together at last in Butler, Pennsylvania. It wasn't just a rally, it was a declaration of war against the establishment. Musk, proudly sporting his dark MAGA hat, standing shoulder to shoulder with Trump, and the left is in meltdown. And the mainstream media, they are scrambling to downplay what might be the most significant political alliance of our time. But we've got the inside scoop, and trust me, you will not believe what is coming. Now, folks, Trump and Elon are turning back the clock on politics, but what about your skin like their alliance? The secret is combining powerful elements. After 20, you lose 12% collagen per decade, leading to premature aging. But here is the game changer. Our collagen supplement combines the top 5 types for maximum effect. It's like the Trump Musk of skincare, revolutionary and effective. Get it now at 51% off at healthwithgary.com. Order today for free VIP health coaching, a free ebook, 14 foods for amazing skin, 60-day guarantee and free shipping. Don't let your skin show your political stress. Revitalize with our collagen power combo. Okay, so where do we begin? I'm going to play. I got some clips here lined up of Elon and some photos and some stuff that you didn't see if you watched the rally, some behind-the-scenes photographs, some amazing visuals of the crowd, of flyover when Trump Force One flew over the crowd. But let's just jump right into some of the reaction. Western Lensman posted this a few hours ago. Joe Scarborough, the mainstream media left, MSNBC. Just they're, of course, in meltdown. They cannot handle the fact that Trump and Elon have finally taken the stage. And where did they take the stage? They took it in Butler, Pennsylvania. On the very ground where Donald Trump faced an assassination. An assassin's bullet, multiple bullets, and was struck by a bullet. I mean, if there was ever a stand that Donald Trump took going back to that place, I mean, of course they're going to have added security. Of course it's going to be amplified. Of course he's going to be super well protected. But to go back to the very place where you almost died, it takes a lot of guts, a lot of courage. And what this man has endured since 2016, what he's endured, it's unlike anything any one of us could ever endure. I mean, this man is literally superhuman. I do not know how he can handle all of these things. But to go right back and face in that spot where he was struck by a sniper's bullet. But of course, the mainstream media, they can't handle it because he's shoulder to shoulder with one of the richest men in the world, Elon Musk, who's an innovator, who's making change, who's helping people in the hurricane relief. While Kamala Harris is doing fundraisers and going on filthy podcasts. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm on a rant here. Let's get to this clip. This is the clip that was played before Joe Scarborough went off. So this is what he sets it up with.
To stop us from achieving this future
have slandered me, impeached me, indicted me, tried to throw me off the ballot, and who knows, maybe even tried to kill me. You know, I always say there's an enemy from within and there's an outside enemy. And if you're smart, the outside enemy is not going to be a problem. Russia, China, North Korea. We're not going to have a problem if you have a smart president. If you have not such a smart president, then it's a problem. But we have an enemy from within, which I think is much more dangerous than the outside enemy.
First, they tried to silence him. When that didn't work, they tried to bankrupt him. When that didn't work, they tried to jail him. And with all the hatred they have spewed at President Trump, it was only a matter of time before somebody tried to kill him.
And then, guys, they tried to kill him. They tried to kill him. And it's because the Democratic Party, they can't do anything right. They can't do anything right. You see it this week in the FEMA response in North Carolina, and in Georgia, and in South Carolina, and in Florida.
This is a pivotal moment for our country. And I don't even have to tell anybody that here. We can all feel it. This is no longer a fight between Republican versus Democrat, left versus right. It is good versus evil. And good is going to win this battle, ladies and gentlemen.
Here's those who want to.
Amen. Now, Scarborough, he calls us all un-American. Scarborough on the Trumps, un-American. This is an increasingly desperate family who's preparing for civil war. That is the words of Joe Scarborough. Watch this.
The level of un-American activity that you just saw is stunning. That is un-American. They know they're lying. Donald Trump knows that's a lie. He will tell you that the Secret Service, he thought, did the best job they could do. The fact that J.D. Vance and Trump's family would out and out say what they said takes the threat of violence, takes the threat beyond where it was even leading up to January the 6th. This is an increasingly desperate person, an increasingly desperate family who's preparing for civil war. They just are. Talking about they're trying to kill him. Democrats are trying to kill him. This is it. And the lies. Think about this. I saw part of Donald Trump's speech this weekend. It was remarkable, the lies, not just on things this year, but even on policy. He'd just make up things and just throw it out there. And I'd be shocked if the audience was really that stupid to believe the crazy lies that he was throwing out there. But he does it so much. It is the falsehood, the firehood of falsehoods.
Okay, Joe. Okay. Scarborough on the Trumps, un-American. This is an increasingly desperate family who's preparing for civil war. This is the rhetoric we're talking about. Okay, so Donald Trump said Democrats are trying to kill him. Okay. Did crooks donate to Democrats? Yes. What about that nut job down in Florida? The one on the fence line? What about him? Oh, yeah. He was a rabid Democrat. So, if he says Democrats are trying to kill him, I believe he's correct. At the weekend rally in Butler, the Trumps had the temerity to talk about inflammatory Democrat rhetoric leading to the assassination attempts. And according to Scarborough, that's inciting violence. For some reason, Scarborough did not express concern over the actual violence of the two assassination attempts, nor did he label those attempts as un-American. Excellent point. And that's just the beginning. We've got MSNBC. They're panicking over this whole alliance. But the crowd was absolutely amazing. This is actually the Wisconsin rally. There are a couple rallies. I mean, this is like so much to keep track of. This is the Wisconsin rally. They say it was larger than the Butler rally. I don't know about that. Here is Elon.
Hi, everyone. As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA.
I love it. I got to get one of those hats. Ahead of the Butler rally, snipers were getting in position on that dangerously sloped roof. Remember that? When the Secret Service came out and they said, oh, no, we couldn't position anyone up there. The roof was too sloped. Okay, well, looks like they solved that problem finally. Snipers in Butler, Pennsylvania, getting ready to provide protection at the Trump rally. Elon Musk said he will be attending. Of course, that all happened. And this was a beautiful moment, right when he started.
As I was saying,
can you imagine? I mean, just the fact that he went back there, started like he was just inconvenienced by a sniper's bullet, and he puts the chart back up on the screen as if nothing had ever happened. Like he just got right back up after getting hit by a sniper's bullet and goes, as I was saying, and motions to the chart and continues his speech as if nothing ever happened. I don't think I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. So we've got the sniper, and then they did this beautiful, oh my goodness, the most beautiful memorial to the firefighter who lost his life there, Compatore, and then the two others who were wounded. Ave Maria was sung. I was in tears. It was a difficult watching that. I'd get choked up right now just talking about it. Here's the view of the plane, the flyover. I'm going to slow it down for you because it's really, really fast. It's only 8 seconds, but we can see here it looks like the town. That's a parking lot behind it. All these people. Here it is. Look at this crowd. Look at that crowd, folks. Have you ever seen anything like it? I mean, look at that. Look at all those people. Yeah. America loves this man. Oh, America loves this man. Goodness. Hang on a second. Sorry. There's Elon with his dark MAGA hat. I actually I was going to buy one today, and it said, they may be on back order, so you're not going to get it in time. 20,000 witnessed Donald Trump's triumphant return to Butler. New York Post calls it Braveheart. I mean, I don't know. Some people are saying 100,000 people were there. I don't know. And of course, Juneau, Wisconsin. Trump was there yesterday. Massive crowds just coming out for him. Trump popping up. Here's another shot. This is, I believe this was during the Ave Maria moment. Just a massive sea of people. Pure history. Here's some behind the scenes pictures. There's Trump and Elon together.
Come here. Take over, Elon. Yes, take over.
I mean, Elon was just jumping for joy. You probably saw that photograph. Look at this picture of Elon jumping up and down. Here's another moment of them having some behind-the-scenes conversation. Elon totally Like, I mean, the main takeaway from Elon, he wanted everyone, make sure you go out and register to vote. Check your registration. Get other people to register to vote. This is Elon's full talk at the rally in Butler, his first true political appearance. History was made in Butler, an estimated 80,000 plus crowd of dedicated, passionate people who support Trump watch Elon come onto the stage. And here is the, we can watch a little bit of this.
I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here. And, you know, the true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire. And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight. Blood coming down the face. Now, America is the home of the brave. And there's no truer test than courage under fire. So who do you want representing America? Yeah, absolutely. And I think this election, I think it's the most important election of our lifetime. This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. They want to take away your right to bear arms. They want to take away your right to vote effectively. You've got 14 states now that don't require voter ID. California, where I used to live, is just passed a law banning voter ID for voting. I still can't believe that's real. So how are you supposed to have a proper election if there's no ID? It's just meaningless. And free speech is the bedrock of democracy. And if people don't know what's going on, if they don't know the truth, how can you make an informed vote? You must have free speech in order to have democracy. That's why it's the First Amendment. And the Second Amendment is there to ensure that we have the First Amendment. President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America. Yes. This is a must-win situation. Must win. So I have one ask for everyone in the audience, everyone who watches this video, everyone on the live stream. This one request. It's very important. Register to vote. Okay, and get everyone you know, and everyone you don't know, drag them to register to vote. There's only 2 days left to register to vote in Georgia and Arizona. 48 hours. Like, text people now. Now. And then make sure they actually do vote. If they don't, this will be the last election. That's my prediction. Nothing's more important. Nothing's more important. So I'm speaking to people out there. Everyone in the crowd, I think, is already convinced. But for people out there that are watching the video, watching the live stream, you need to get everyone you know, at work, your friends, family, text groups, your social media, everything. Get them to register to vote right now. Only 2 days left for Georgia and Arizona. Only a couple weeks left in Pennsylvania. And if they're not registered to vote, it doesn't matter at that point. Register to vote. I'm being repetitive for a reason, okay? So nothing is more important. And a lot of people think maybe their vote doesn't count. Well, it does, okay? It does. It matters. And this election could be decided by 1,000 votes, 500 votes. A tiny margin. So get everyone you know to register to vote and double check that your registration is good. Don't take it for granted. I'm just being repetitive about this point because it is the one takeaway more than anything that will matter is getting those registrations and then getting everyone you know to actually vote. That is what will decide this election, especially in Pennsylvania. So thank you, and honestly, you want to just be a pest. Just be a pest to everyone you know, people on the street, everywhere. Vote, vote, vote. Fight, fight, fight. Vote, vote, vote. Thank you.
Amen. That was awesome. Elon Musk, full speech at the rally. And there's another speech from another rally that took place in New York that is really powerful. Another person walking away, Elon Musk walking away from the Democrat Party. Check this guy out. Time to leave the Democrat Party. It's anti-American, party of anti-Semitism and anti-Israel. Vote Trump. This is Shabbos Kestenbaum. He says, I disagree with Trump on most issues, yet I agreed to speak at his rally. Listen to what he has to say about the Democrat Party.
Liberty. Thank you. In 1790, President George Washington addressed the Jewish community in Newport, Rhode Island. And he told them that here in the United States, bigotry would be given no sanction and persecution no assistance. Since arriving in 1654, we Jewish Americans have fought and died for this country. We have participated in all areas of civic life, and we have pursued life, liberty, and happiness. We Jewish Americans are not guests in this country. We Jewish Americans are part of this country. How horrified, how shocked, how disgusted would President Washington be today to know that in the 21st century, Jewish Americans are being physically assaulted on their college campuses, are being denied access to their education because of their religious identity. And get this, when 45 Americans were butchered, when 8 Americans were taken hostage by Hamas terrorists on October 7th, our academic, intellectual elites, our young liberal classmates, not only did they not condemn the atrocity, they praised it. What is so great about this country is we can disagree. So hold your booze. But I have something embarrassing to admit. I'm a Democrat. No, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I have good news. For the last 10 months, I have tried pressuring my party to take the issues of anti-Semitism seriously. Biden and Harris have refused to meet with any of us Jewish students as we try to fight for our civil rights on college campuses. The Senate Democrats have refused to hold hearings on anti-Semitism. Instead, all lives mattering the issue, talking about all forms of hate. And of the close to 100 members of Congress who left Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's speech as he fights for the survival of the Jewish state, all but one were Democrats. My fellow Jewish Americans, I'm speaking to you. We are politically homeless. Elections are binary choices. And this election, I have good news. I am going to vote for the president who told us that he will not allow 1 penny of the American taxpayer money to fund anti-Semitic, un-American universities like Harvard, like Columbia, like MIT. And I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote for the president. I'm gonna vote for the president who told us that he will expel non-American students who violate our laws and abuse the foreign visa system. And I am going to vote for the president who won't negotiate with Hamas terrorists, will kill Hamas terrorists. To my fellow Jewish Americans who find themselves politically homeless, I'm with you. I understand. But please, this November, let's fight. Let's win. May God bless the United States. May He bless the land of Israel. May He bless, protect, and bring home the American hostages now.
How powerful was that? I mean, there are people the Democrats are losing so much support from demographic groups that they took for granted. The African American community, the Jewish community, the Hispanic community, they are losing support. I mean, when you have someone as large as Elon Musk coming to the stage with Donald Trump, I mean, people listen. This is a coup against the Democrat Party. And it's only because the policies of the left are causing this. It's their own destruction. And speaking of destruction, Brian, bring this up. This is what's next.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and HE in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there, things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Yes. That is probably one of my favorite Dilly meme team videos ever produced. But of course, they're terrified. They are absolutely terrified of this alliance between Trump and Elon.
And I will say that Elon Musk is perhaps the world's leading spreader of disinformation, including outright lies about hurricane relief, about illegal immigrants. We've seen him do that in the last couple of weeks. And then on Saturday, he steps on stage with Donald Trump with one of the less athletic leaps I've ever seen as he bounded his way on stage with Trump. Tell us, and then spoke briefly on the former president's behalf. Tell us About that moment and what sort of he does not have much of a vertical, Mr. Musk. And I will say that Elon Musk.
So they're just going to go ahead and just attack him. That's fine. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to win this. We are going to win this. We're going to take it all the way home. Dark MAGA is rising, my friends. Retribution is coming. And they are terrified. So there you have it. Trump and Musk, two of the most influential figures of our time joining forces. It's a game changer. The establishment is terrified, and for good reason, because this alliance could reshape American politics as we know it. And now I want to hear from you. What do you think that this Trump-Musk partnership means for the future of the MAGA movement and the 2024 election? Is this the boost that Trump needs, or do you think it could backfire? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Wow. That was something else. Okay, real-time reaction. We'll spend a couple minutes with you guys in chat. Yes, we got our Clinton stories up next. Okay, Dawn says the Democrat Party is dead. They've absolutely been infiltrated by the Marxist communist movement of Saul Alinsky. Beach Life says, I live in a Jewish town. All my neighbors have Harris wall signs. Just boggles my mind knowing how Harris hates Israel. I don't get it. I don't get it either. Beach Life, here's what I'm going to do. And I did retweet that video. You'll find it on my X timeline. That was actually September 18th. When that guy spoke. But you need to share that clip with all of your Jewish neighbors. The left has been attacking Trump since he breathed the word election. Gail Marie says the $750 is only a loan. You only have 1 year to pay it back, and they can take your property. I heard something about that, Gail. Millennium Man says FEMA sucks. Jezebel reads off a script, and Vegetal Joe is asleep at the wheel. Oh yeah, he's just coasting now. Pothead Kenny, all the sadness and anger is because of Harris and Biden. Amy says, I'm angry what's going on in the area. I feel so helpless. Okay, let's see here. Been wondering about MAGA being a second coming of their policies will last 1,000 years. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Okay, let's get to I still can't believe I went a whole hour in that first segment. There's just so much to go through. Okay. Brace yourselves, America, because the ghost of elections past is back, and she's more dangerous than ever. That's right. Hillary Clinton has emerged from the shadows, but this time she's not running for office. She's gunning for your freedom of speech. Clinton is calling for unprecedented censorship, demanding that social media companies silence dissent or face the consequences. A chilling glimpse into the dystopian future that the left envisions. And we've got the exclusive scoop that will make your skin crawl. And just as Hillary Clinton is trying to control the narrative, you need to take control of your safety on the road. With Clinton calling for unprecedented censorship, it's clear that watchful eyes are everywhere, and that's why you need Car Vision X, your personal witness on the road. The state-of-the-art dash cam provides 4K Ultra HD footage, night vision, and 24/7 motion detection. Don't let anyone twist your story. Have irrefutable evidence at your fingertips. Visit carvisionx.com now for free shipping and exclusive bonuses. Protect yourself from those who want to silence the truth on and off the road. So, Elon Musk posts out about 15 hours ago. The left controls almost all legacy media and all major search and social media companies except this one. He's speaking of X. He says, we strive to be a level playing field for all views. They do not. And he makes he's quote tweeting Peter Sweden that the left is mad and outraged that Elon Musk is supporting Trump. But they're completely silent about George Soros buying 200 radio stations and Google supporting the Democrats. I posted this meme. Yes, they are all laughing at you. And then we told them freedom of speech threatens freedom of speech. And there's all of your favorite partners in crime laughing at you. And here's Hillary Clinton. She says social media companies must censor people's content or else we lose control. These are her words. They lose control.
We should be, in my view, repealing something called Section 230, which gave, platforms on the internet immunity because they were thought to be just pass-throughs, that they shouldn't be judged for the content that is posted. But we now know that that was an overly simple view, that if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm. We should be...
Real harm, she says. Real harm. You know where the real harm is happening? The real harm is happening when CNN and MSNBC continually spew misinformation. That's where the real harm comes from. And it inspires lunatics to go and act out and carry out assassination attempts. And the saddest part is that those very networks get elevated on the YouTube platform. They get elevated on the YouTube platform. I would argue that by elevating that dangerous rhetoric on MSNBC and CNN, that YouTube is in fact complicit in those acts of aggression against our president, because they have modified the algorithm to raise up what they call authoritative voices, in the words of the late Susan Wojcicki. Am I right? Are you following me here? They amplify those voices. Those voices get out into people's heads. Hillary Clinton is worried. She says they're going to lose total control if they don't clamp down. Well, here's the thing. Section 230 gives these platforms total immunity. It does. So then the bigger question is, why are they even bothering to censor content? Well, it's because you have lunatics like Adam Schiff that send letters to YouTube, send letters to X, send letters to Rumble, demanding that they censor content before the election. Because they don't want us questioning anything that they do. No, that's against the rules now in the Democrat playbook. And Hillary Clinton is terrified that they will lose control. But I say the biggest offenders of misinformation and outright disinformation come directly from the authoritative news sources of CNN and MSNBC. Imagine if we just had an open playing field. Imagine if the algorithm was just clean and wide open, like it was back in 2016. We'd be able to speak freely. People could get the information that they need. They don't need to have like little banners underneath that explain every keyword that's mentioned in the video. But that's what Hillary is afraid of, losing total control. Real Robert posted this. Here it is. The two-time failed presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton's own campaign manager, Robbie Mook, under oath in a court of law, confirms beyond the shadow of a doubt the Russian collusion hoax, the greatest disinformation campaign and seditious conspiracy in the United States election history, orchestrated, financed, approved by Hillary Clinton to frame Donald Trump and attempting to overthrow the United States government in 2016. And who amplified that narrative? CNN and MSNBC on the very social media platforms that we traverse every day. Let's listen.
Click
off on this personally. Hillary Clinton herself.
We've all been watching this for days, and I plan on being there every single day to make sure I hear every bit of testimony. This was amazing. I never heard so many pens click and start immediately writing. I got reporters asking me for clarification. What did that mean? What did that mean? Are they in trouble? And I said, that was very big. That was very big. He just cut it right to the top. And thank you very much, Robbie Mook, for what you did today. Made it very clear there was a phone call. She paid Fusion GPS through her campaign, through her lawyers, and that she was actually told that there were papers provided that had not been verified, that she had not, and they said we had no DNS expertise. We just figured the media would take it and do their own vetting. Now, remember, the media that they went to was Slate. It was not the New York Times. It was not the Wall Street Journal, which maybe is a little bit more sophisticated. It was Slate. On top of that, this was the same time that she was deleting emails and that she was having her own problems with her servers. So she and her team have an October surprise. And this has been a real big theme by the Durham team. And it's exactly what happened. And then October 31st, ironically, she retweets Jake Sullivan's tweet that, oh my God, cybersecurity, crimes. Trump has a server with Alpha Bank. Complete lie.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a couple of quotes I want to highlight for everybody here. The first one, I think, is from Robbie Mook, who in his testimony, and look at what he said here. He said 2 or 3 of the most damaging days of the campaign were caused by Comey, not Trump. And the other one is very interesting, and this goes back a few months, actually, to Hillary Clinton. If the election were on October 27th, I'd be your president, Clinton said in May of 2017.
So, the Russia collusion hoax, I know it's been beat to death. I know you're tired of hearing about it. But the fact that the mainstream media amplified the lie and continued to perpetuate that Donald Trump is the greatest threat to democracy and continued to spew violent rhetoric. I mean, even when Trump was elected back in 2016, remember Madonna saying, I have dreams about blowing up the White House? I mean, this dangerous rhetoric has been going on for a very long time. And Hillary Clinton is now terrified that if we counter that dangerous rhetoric because we want peace, and we want everyone to get along, and we want to have a fair playing field, we want to correct the narrative, that they're going to lose total control. I mean, it blows my mind. Now, a couple weeks ago, I interviewed Senator Brian Hughes of Texas. You may have missed the interview. You need to go back on the channel and take a look for this interview. It was very, very important because it talks about how Texas is taking a stand against Google and YouTube and the other social media networks. And very specifically, this channel, this Next News Network YouTube channel, who's been now demonetized for over 21 months. We're currently in review. On September 12th, I submitted the channel back for a review, and I haven't heard back. So Texas is now investigating this. They've sent documents to Google, document requests to Google and YouTube. And from what I understand, our own channel was mentioned in those documents as to why they demonetized this channel and why they continue to keep it demonetized after being in good standing for over 12 years. Anyway, here's Senator Brian Hughes firing back at Kamala Harris calls to restrict speech. Now, before I play Hughes, let's listen to Kamala.
We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy. And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
Oh, are you? Well, let's see what Texas is doing. Here is Senator Brian Hughes.
And let people make
The answer to bad speech is more speech, not enforced silence. The vice president's calling for speech police, calling for the feds to say what you can say, what you can't say. We're calling for more speech, even speech we disagree with. The Supreme Court got that right in that concurring opinion decades ago when they said the answer to bad speech is more speech, not enforced silence. Let's get all the ideas out there, all the viewpoints out there, and let people make their own decisions. I'm so glad you mentioned that. We are not pushing for what the vice president's talking about. She has a fundamental misunderstanding of free speech. The answer
she does have a fundamental misunderstanding. And in case you missed it, J.D. Vance, during that debate, called out Tim Walz for this statement.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Kamala, the most sacred right under the United States democracy is the First Amendment. You yourself have said there's no First Amendment right to misinformation. Kamala Harris wants to use the power of government and big tech to silence people from speaking their minds. That is a threat to democracy that will long outlive this present political moment. I would like Democrats and Republicans to both reject censorship. Let's persuade one another. Let's argue about ideas, and then let's come together afterwards.
You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's the test. That's the Supreme Court test.
Tim, fire in a crowded theater. You guys wanted to kick people off of Facebook for saying that toddlers shouldn't wear masks.
Senator, the governor does have the floor.
Fire in a crowded theater. That is criticizing the policies of the government, which is the right of every American.
Senator, the governor does have the floor.
Tim Walz getting his butt handed to him. Now here's Elon Musk. Remember this?
Free speech is the bedrock of democracy. And if people don't know what's going on, if they don't know the truth, how can you make an informed vote? You must have free speech in order to have democracy. That's why it's the First Amendment. And the Second Amendment is there to ensure that we have the First Amendment.
I love it. He said that point. The Second Amendment is there to ensure we have the First Amendment. Well, if you're wondering where all this is coming from, it's not just the Democrats. They're all in lockstep with the globalists. But here is the EU president, Ursula von der Leyen, and the World Economic Forum pushing dangerous rhetoric disguised as protecting democracy. This was published to the World Economic Forum's social media page. Check it out.
It clearly, what is illegal offline should be illegal online too. And we want the platforms to be transparent about how their algorithms work. Because we cannot accept that decisions that have a far-reaching impact on our democracy are taken by computer programs alone. We want it clearly laid down that internet companies take responsibility for the manner in which they disseminate, promote, and remove content. We need to contain this immense power of the big digital companies, because we want the values we cherish in the offline world also to be respected online. The storming of the Capitol came as a shock to me. I mean, we are always quick to say democracy and values, they are part of our DNA, and that's true. But we must nurture our democracy every day and defend our institutions against the corrosive power of hate speech, of disinformation, fake news, and incitement to violence.
We must protect our institutions because you cannot question the narrative. You cannot. You must believe us.
And in a world where polarizing opinions are the loudest, it is a short step from crude conspiracy theories to the death of a police officer.
The Davos agenda. Wonderful. So there you have it, friends. That's it. Hillary Clinton freaking out about losing total control. People complaining about Elon Musk. At least Texas is stepping up. And we got Elon, we got J.D. Vance, we got Trump. They all recognize this big threat. It's all coming right down from the top. Right from the top of the globalist order. Hillary Clinton calls for social platforms like X to censor and monitor content, warning that if they don't, we lose control. So Hillary Clinton, not content with her failed presidential bids, is now openly calling for the silencing of dissent. It's not just about control. It's about reshaping the fabric of our republic. The question is, where does it end? But now I want to hear from you. How far do you think this push for censorship will go? What can average Americans do to protect their right to free speech? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this crucial conversation going. Wow. When I saw that Hillary Clinton post, I said, are you kidding me? She really did that? She said that, and then the World Economic Forum lady, EU president, I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm gonna put a story together. I'm gonna get Hillary, I'm gonna get the EU president, and I'm gonna counterbalance that with J.D. Vance, the Texas senator, Elon Musk. It's like, one side versus the other. You can clearly see those sides colliding. Kamala Harris, man, that story was a little bit too easy to put together, to be honest with you. Okay, where are we at? Here we at. Let's see. Okay, what's everyone saying? She loves her pizza and hot dogs. My grandma used to tell me if you allowed marriages, open up to many more. We need to leave NATO. They're not in control. This is America. Let people speak whatever. I'm smart enough to figure out what is, and to figure out what the truth is. Aren't you? Take the blinders off, people. We're being shut up. We can think for ourselves. Okay, let's get to our next topic. I know Brian's got another thing he's got to do here today. Okay, where are we at? We're in the 5th segment here. Yes. Okay. All right, just reviewing some of these clips here so I can get them in order. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to reveal will shake you to your core. We're not just talking about election irregularities. We're talking about a full-scale assault on our republic, from illegal migrants being registered to vote by the thousands to a sinister plot involving overseas ballots. The integrity of our elections is under attack like never before. The Democrats' playbook for 2024 is out, and it's more brazen and dangerous than you could ever imagine. Buckle up, because this bombshell report changes everything. And as we expose the threats to our electoral integrity, it's crucial to maintain our personal strength. Just as voter fraud drains the power of your vote, there's a common food secretly zapping your testosterone. V-Shred has uncovered this unexpected culprit that's devastating T levels nationwide. It's not junk food or sugar. It's something you've been told is healthy. By eliminating this one food, you could transform your energy levels and motivation. Don't let your vote or your vitality be stolen. Head to sculptnation.com/NNN to watch the free video revealing this testosterone-killing food. Reclaim your power just like we must reclaim our republic. You'll find it linked below. Okay, this just in. Natalie Winters posting this local report. Non-citizens now receiving flyers with instructions on how to register to vote for Harris Walls. Look at this.
An investigation by Fox 2 finds non-U.S. citizen migrant workers are being encouraged to vote in November's presidential election. Fox Files investigator Chris Hayes found this out after an employer of migrant workers alerted him.
These union mailers were just sent to non-U.S. citizen migrant workers. They say, quote, stop the steal by stopping Trump's allies, vote for Harris Walls and pro-worker candidates. Here's 11 of the mailers addressed to non-U.S. citizens mailed to their workplace, which alerted Fox 2. The The business, which specializes in landscaping, does not want to be identified. The company's manager told us their migrant worker employees, who are from Mexico, are all background checked and have legal H-2B visas, which allow their temporary stay here. The manager explained the migrant workers are also allowed to have union representation and that they pay dues to their union, called La Una. But the manager cannot understand why the union would send mailers to non-U.S. citizens encouraging their vote in the presidential election. We've tried repeatedly to get an explanation from Washington, D.C.-based union La Una. 3 emails to their communications department and 3 phone calls. A 4th call also went to voicemail. We checked with...
So that's just the tip of the iceberg, my friends. And of course, the Democrats are absolutely consumed. They're still consumed with anyone who questions the 2020 election. I still don't understand why they continually pound this into people's heads. I can only guess is because they're planning to steal the 2024 election. And they want to continue this election denial narrative, keep it front and center, as we just saw with Kristen Welker speaking to Tom Cotton on Meet the Press.
About Hunter Biden's lap.
Different. I want to talk about one of the big moments this week from the vice presidential debate. We just played it in the open when Senator J.D. Vance refused to say that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. I want to put this question to you, Senator, just to put this to rest. Can you say definitively here and now that Donald Trump did lose the 2020 election?
Kristen, Joe Biden was elected president in 2020. It was an unfair election in many ways. I mean, you had states that were changing their election practices or election laws, sometimes in violation of their constitution. You had networks combining with big tech to suppress what we now know to be a truthful story about Hunter Biden's laptop and the evidence that it exposed about Biden family corruption. So obviously Joe Biden was elected president. We know that in part because...
But did Trump lose?
Joe Biden was elected, Kristen. There's a process by which we elect presidents. There's votes in November. You have an electoral college vote. You certify the election, and then you have the inauguration. Joe Biden was elected president. Everything has gone to hell in a handbasket as a result of it.
As you know.
Now, I just want to point out here, as I interrupt this clip, she keeps pressing him. Did Donald Trump lose the election? And he never says it because he knows the election was stolen. Instead, he does a word game and says that that Biden was elected, which is essentially saying the same thing.
I mean, it has been stated that this was one of the most secure elections in U.S. history. But do you just not want to say that Trump lost? Why not just say the simple thing? If Biden is president, can you just simply say Trump lost?
Joe Biden was elected president in 2020. That's why we have runaway inflation. That's why we have more than 10 million illegals in this country. And to go back to the point about the 2020 election, it was very irregular. You had networks, to include this networks, conspiring with big tech to suppress evidence of Biden family corruption. You had Democratic states and cities like Pennsylvania, like Philadelphia, changing their election practices on the fly. That's one reason why President Trump and the Republican National Committee is so focused on election integrity in this election, to make sure that Democrats aren't doing things like they're trying to do in Pennsylvania, counting absentee and mail-in ballots that don't have dates or that have the wrong date.
And there's no proof that happened. And again, just to be clear, as I said initially, Trump did take his case to court more than 60 times, didn't win those cases.
Oh, give it a rest, Kristen. Even this post from September, Speaker Mike Johnson is moving forward without the SAVE Act, which we really need. But he's confirming illegal migrants are registering to vote by the thousands. Go vertical, please.
And thousands of illegals on the voter rolls right now. And here's the problem. You know, if you have just a small percentage of those millions of people that try to participate, you can throw the outcome of the election. You can throw the outcome of who has the majority in the House. I have a colleague who won her seat in Congress in 2020 by 6 votes. I've got another Republican colleague, won his race by about 250 votes. It's easy to throw these things off, and you could even affect the outcome of a presidential cycle, depending on where all those illegals are participating. Some of these swing states are a real concern. So we have to make sure that before someone registers to vote, they prove that they are a U.S. citizen, because that is existing federal law. What's happening around the country right now.
Why not get behind the SAVE Act then, right? Of course. Welfare offices across the country are registering illegal aliens to vote as part of the Biden-Harris migrant benefits package. They've been registering these migrants to vote through NGO migrant shelters. I'm going to get to this clip played for you in just a moment, but I want you to see something that just happened. This 21 hours ago, college Republicans at ASU, election interference they call, 70,000 Arizona state students received a text from the Kamala Harris campaign, which is data from the Arizona state database. It should be confidential. Everybody should demand answers about how this happened. And here's a screenshot of the text message that went out. Donald Trump is pointing out, calling on the lawyers at the RNC to stop all kinds of fraud that's been pointed out. Fun facts about the Democrat plan to steal elections using overseas ballots. Through the UOCAVA overseas program, you can register to vote online without providing an ID, SSN, or proof of citizenship. You can register in any state, at any address, and no one verifies whether you have ever actually lived there. Many states allow you to send your ballot via email. A recent Democrat memo announced their plan to collect 9 million overseas Democrat votes. According to a federal government report, there are only 2.8 million eligible voters overseas. In 2020, the number of civilian UOCAVA votes inexplicitly doubled from their normal average. The Democrats have spent six figures on the Vote from Abroad program. The rake in more unverified civilian overseas ballots to rake in more. In 2020, just 44,000 votes across Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin votes won Joe Biden the presidency. Democrats only need a handful of fraudulent overseas votes to steal the election. Elon Musk asking, is this for real? And Donald Trump posts from his Truth Social, he made a point to call on the RNC to investigate that. Let's go to this clip here.
Every federal involved in distributing election materials. Some of the folks can't read or write in English. And so why don't you summarize that again, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so under the president's executive order, every federal agency has to provide voter registration forms to everyone with whom they come into contact. So these are people, a lot of times people who don't speak English or read English, and they're being handed a document by a government official and told to sign it, and so they do, yep. And then they're registered to vote, which, by the way, is a felony offense and makes them deportable, which they often don't know. But the bigger problem is these migrant shelters. So if the NGOs running the migrant shelters are registering illegal aliens to vote, which we know that they are based on not just a New York City contract, but based on other evidence as well, then what's going to happen is the illegal aliens are using the address of the migrant shelter on their registration forms. So for any states that mail out ballots, those ballots are going to be mailed to the migrant shelters. I guarantee you that the Democrats have a plan for how to harvest those ballots. They now have a whole list of names of people they know are ineligible to vote, but are registered to vote and are going to be sent ballots. So somebody's going to fill out those ballots, and they're going to be delivered to some, voter office. So what we really need to do is have election officials looking through the voter rolls for multiple people with different last names registered at the same address, and then figure out if that address is a migrant shelter, because those are non-citizens. This could be a make or break.
It's huge. The felony piece you mentioned there is no small deal either. Just give me 30 seconds on that again. It's a felony to do what?
It's a felony to vote illegally. It's also a felony to falsely claim U.S. citizenship, which they're doing by checking the box and signing their name under penalty of perjury. So if you register to vote, you've committed a felony. If you vote, you've committed another felony, and you are deportable after that. And so this is an important public service announcement. Non-citizens, legal or illegal, non-citizens are ineligible to vote, and it is a felony involved in distributing.
It is a felony. So Democrats are clearly setting these people up to commit voter fraud. Here's a video talking about how it was discovered that many illegals were using the same Social Security number to vote.
Sign a piece of paper. We discovered 10,000 people using the exact Social Security number. See if this one rings true. You take an illegal, you bring them in. They sign a piece of paper promising to pay taxes. What they get is a Social Security number. So the employers can take out the taxes. Put a pin in that. Here's what they do. In cities like this, let's think of a chicken processor. They will bring in hundreds of illegals. They will spread them out across all of these plants and factories, giving them jobs. They're all using the same Social Security number. The IRS unconnected our names from the Social Security number. Now when you look it up, it just pings to see if there's an employer. If there is, it says it's good, it validates it. Why do they do that? Because all of these factories are giving them Social Security numbers. The government turns its back on it. As soon as you have a Social Security number and you go over to motor voter, pass the driver's test, right? You get a driver's license. The person looks, you got a social, you must be a citizen. That's how they pack the rolls. By the way, those guys don't pay taxes anyway. It's taken out by companies. Our government's been sitting on $1.7 trillion slush fund that one fund has still in it to this day.
It's just the tip of the iceberg, my friends. Here's another one. Brian, go vertical with this. Kamala campaign pressuring non-citizens to vote. Biden and Harris have been registering migrants to vote. Biden signed an EO authorizing government agencies to reach out to register everyone they can. Listen to this firsthand witness.
Don't hate on her. So I have a friend from Venezuela that I work with, and she told me something very interesting today. For background, she came here during the Trump administration when they started taking refugees from Venezuela, so she came as a refugee. She is a doctor of many, many years. She's a gastroenterologist in Venezuela. And she's brilliant, and I love her. She's my friend. She's one of the good ones. So don't hate on her. But we were talking about the 2020 election today. Can we say that? Are we not going to get banned? I hope not. But we were talking about that today. And she showed me today, and she told me, oh, I know they cheated in the 2020 because they've been sending me emails to register to vote to a email account that she opened in Venezuela many, many, many years ago, and that she used for immigration communication when she applied to come here, because she came here legally. And she showed me the emails, and she had a bunch of Kamala Harris registered to vote, Kamala Harris campaign. And I'm like, wait, are you a permanent resident or are you a citizen? She's like, no. She said, I'm not even a permanent resident yet. Like, she hasn't gotten her papers yet. And she knows that she's not allowed to vote and it's illegal for her to vote, but she's receiving these emails. Unless the White House or the DHS sold her information to a third party, because, it's possible. Why would they send her emails from Kamala's campaign if they know she is not a legal citizen? Can someone explain to me, why are they sending non-citizens emails to register to vote and to vote for Kamala Harris? Because I get those emails, but I was a registered Democrat before, so I still get those emails. And she has never registered to vote in her life because obviously she's not a citizen and she knows that. So can someone explain to me, where would they get her email from? And she didn't get any emails from Donald Trump's campaign, which is, if that was fair, she would get some from his campaign. Only from her campaign. I thought that was weird, but can someone explain to me why that might happen? So,
see that one
from Venezuela.
So what do you think about that? I mean, I just ran through a whole series of examples. Laura Loomer asking the question, did Michael Crow, the president of ASU, give the Kamala Harris campaign access to the data of 70,000 ASU students? She tags Michael Crow She says, did you know he's the chairman of the board of InQtel, the Central Intelligence Agency's venture capital firm? Election interference, 70,000 ASU students. Good news is President Donald Trump now leads Kamala Harris by 6% in Pennsylvania in betting markets just a day after Elon Musk attended his rally in Butler. Elon Musk pointing out Trump is now leading Kamala by 3% in betting markets, more accurate than polls as actual money's on the line. And also, this is really cool. For every person you refer, this is Elon Musk setting this up. For every person who you refer who is a swing state voter, you get $47 easy money. Elon's America PAC is offering $47 for each registered voter you refer in a swing state that signs this petition. Yep. That's happening. Elon Musk, $47 for each registered voter you refer in a swing state that simply signs a petition. The fraud and theft of the election using multiple strategies by Democrats is like a high-stakes game of whack-a-mole. Carrie Lake even pointing out what I brought up earlier about Trump's call to the lawyers of the RNC. She says she sounded the alarm on this as well. This should be number one concern and effort of the RNC Vote Project. And here is, this is a new ad from Kamala Harris, but first let's listen to a brief snippet from Melania.
Here we are. We are on, 30 days from the election, and people will decide what they would like for this country.
But are you ready?
We are ready. We are here.
A very rare interview Melania Trump gave just over the weekend. And here is that new ad. I mean, Elon Musk, pardon me, but Elon Musk, he is really out there. He's pushing back on this fraudulent voting. Action is being taken to stop fraudulent voting in Arizona. I'm glad he's on top of this. Here's a new ad that was just released about Kamala Harris.
Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax bill.
And on day one, I will repeal that tax bill.
Joe Biden and I are about to work to get rid of that tax cut. Joe and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax cut.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. We've got to increase the corporate tax rate. Part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up. We will tax capital gains.
But we're going to have to raise corporate taxes.
It's just a new way of looking at things to say, we're going to tax what you don't have. That's a sore point, and it's a big deal. Is that something you think she firmly believes in?
I think it's part of the proposals of the campaign.
Taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax. When the value of your home goes up,
it's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way stock moves, the way something else moves.
That's always the go-to answer.
Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. There has to be some connection between the fee and bad behaviors, and there has to be, and that we have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, carbon fee.
That's what they want. They want to raise your taxes. They want to tax the carbon, the air you breathe, and take away your free speech. And they're doing it all with all the millions of people that they just let in this open border. And I just gave you several examples of that, plus what they're doing at Arizona State. So there you have it, folks. The plot to steal our republic laid bare, from welfare offices registering illegal aliens to vote to the manipulation of overseas ballots. It's clear the integrity of our elections is hanging by a thread. But the fight is not over. I want to hear from you. What steps do you think need to be taken to secure our elections and ensure that every legal vote counts? How can we as citizens protect the sanctity of our republic? Sound off in the comments below. All right, let's check back in with you guys here. Wow, we did a long show today. Tax, more tax. At least everyone will be homeless. Tracy. Joe Biden and them that tortured. Oh, wow. Some things I just can't say. Tampa, Florida here. What's up, Jonathan? God bless you. Keep you in the eye of the storm. Volunteer at the polls. Just a Bird says. Sabrina says, hit the like button. Go for it. Hit the like button. Did you guys, if you text a friend this show stream, put the number 1 in the chat room. I want to get a roll call here real quick as we go into the latest news. Brian's got to get on his next production here, so I want to. Okay, look at that. Let's see. Just a Bird. Who else? Jonathan, Pothead. Look at everybody. Nice. Wow, you guys are awesome. Look at all the people, all those ones. That's great. Look at them all. Wow. Thank you, guys. Sabrina's a poll watcher this year. That's excellent. Austin, Texas in the house. Look at all those ones. Woo. Love it, guys. Love it, man. You guys are great. Okay, Brian, bring up the triple so we can go through some of these latest breaking news here. Okay. Looks like InfoWars just covering what we just covered 50 seconds ago. Stephen Miller, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris have never been asked about any of this. Pro-terror Palestinians attacking Israeli supporters in New York City. 19-year-old savagely kidnapped in Gaza. Donald Trump posts from his Truth Social. Response to hurricane by lying, Kamala Harris is now rated the worst storm response in history. North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama. Others will respond by voting for Trump. We will make America great again. Hurricane Milton is, oh my, 175 mile per hour, category 5, tied as the 4th strongest in Atlantic hurricane history. 175 mile an hour winds. If that hits Tampa as a direct hit, we are in big trouble. Especially everybody, I mean, I know people in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Naples. Wow. Incompetence at a whole nother level. Let's see. Biden-Harris administration has failed the people affected by Hurricane Helene. Thankfully, charitable organizations are stepping up to help these communities recover. Again, I say this, like I said when we covered this at the beginning of the show. All these disaster relief groups are there. Now they are like right in the crosshairs of this next hurricane. I mean, this could have tenfold a devastating effect. Okay. So it's the 1-year anniversary of October 7th. Okay, let's see here. I want to check in on the hurricane. Ladybug USA 3 seconds ago. Anyone who believes Helene and Milton are natural behaving hurricanes would believe Kamala is a Rhodes Scholar. City of Titusville. Hurricane Milton has now reached Category 5. Storm is expected to weaken, making landfall in Pinellas County sometime on Wednesday afternoon, early evening. Hurricane Milton is expected to be a low Category 1 when it reaches Brevard County area. Winds are expected to be 70 to 85 miles per hour. Let's see. Look at that.
Michael Clark here with BAM-WX.
ask that you share the stream or tag some friends or make sure you're following the channels to get the latest.
Sorry, it didn't show up well. Hurricane Milton intensified to Category 5. Stay updated. Wow. Pressures at 911 compared to Wilma and Andrew. Wow. We're not prepared for what Hurricane Milton might do to Tampa. Speaker Johnson's refusing to call back Congress for emergency funding vote after he led Republicans in cutting FEMA funding. In the continuing resolution, Helene was one of the most destructive hurricanes in history. Category 5 Milton may be strongest. Okay. If you're in that the line of that hurricane, you guys listen, evacuate, bunker down, and pray. We'll be praying for you here too. So there you have it, folks. A whirlwind of revelations we've uncovered tonight. So let's recap what we've learned, because believe me, it's a lot to process. We start with Hurricane Milton, a monster storm bearing down on Florida, but the real disaster is the government's response. While DeSantis mobilizes every resource, FEMA is busy playing identity politics and reportedly funneling your tax dollars to illegal immigrants. It's a disgrace, plain and simple. Then we dove into Kamala Harris' media meltdown while Americans struggle with real issues. Our VP is busy chatting about frat boys on podcasts. It'd be funny if it weren't so terrifying. Remember, she's just one heartbeat away from the presidency, and she's gunning for it now. But it's not all gloom and doom. We witness history in Butler, Pennsylvania, with the Trump-Elon alliance, two titans of industry and influence joining forces to challenge the establishment. And the left is in full-blown panic mode, and for good reason. And speaking of panic, Hillary Clinton's back, and she's not even trying to hide her authoritarian tendencies anymore. Her calls for censorship should send chills down every American's spine. It's a reminder of what's at stake in 2024. And finally, we expose the shocking truth about election integrity. From illegal voters to manipulated overseas ballots, the very foundation of our republic's under attack. It's clear that the fight for fair elections is far from over. Now we need to level with you. Bringing you this kind of hard-hitting, no-holds-barred truth is not easy or cheap. The powers that be would love nothing more than to shut us down. That's why we need your support. If you value the work we do here, please consider making a donation. Every dollar helps us keep the lights on and the truth flowing. And here's another thing you can do. Spread the word. Tell your friends, your family, your neighbors about our show. Share our clips on social media. Be a beacon of truth in these times of darkness, because the more people who wake up to what's really going on, the harder it becomes for them to silence us. Remember, in a world of fake news and hidden agenda, we are your lighthouse cutting through the fog. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and most importantly, keep fighting the good fight. We'll see you next time, America. Have a great day.